Hi guys, welcome back to another Halloween tutorial. This is going to be my pop art Heartbroken zombie. There have been hundreds of pop art zombie looks over the past few years. The first one I saw was by Samantha from Battle Ash. A lot of other amazing artists like Jordan Hans and Mikey have done this since, but I kind of just wanted to take everything that I've seen from everyone and just kind of make my own thing. I wanted it to be a little bit on the simple side, so not a ton of details, just for those of you guys who are new to this kind of Halloween makeup or body painting thing. Alright, so I'm just going to hop right into it. I'm taking the Wolf Effects Essentials palette. This is a water activated paint. I'm using this with a Real Techniques foundation brush, and I'm just applying the green all over my face. And don't forget the ears, especially if you have hair that's not going to cover your ears. You want to make sure that those are painted as well. I'm taking a nude colored pencil and I'm just outlining where the skeleton is going to be showing, where I want it to look like the flesh was ripped off. So I'm doing that around my mouth and cheek area, and then another one around the top of my forehead where the brain's going to be exposed. I'm also doing two on my chest, but I didn't realize that it was kind of cut out of the camera. So you're going to see what I'm talking about a little bit later, but I'm basically just doing two more holes on my chest. I like to use this brush because I can get around that outline very easily. So I'm basically making sure to paint everywhere except the places that we outlined and on my eyelids, because I'm going to be putting a different color there later. And then of course just taking this down my neck and onto my chest and a little bit down my arms as well. If you guys are wearing something where your whole arms are going to be exposed, then obviously paint all the way down your arms. Just whatever skin is exposed, make sure you paint that. Now you can kind of see the shapes of the holes on my chest. I have one small one and then one bigger one with a string of skin still attached, kind of going through the hole and connecting on the bottom. After waiting a few minutes for that to dry, I'm going to go in with a second layer and just kind of make that more opaque. I switched to the Real Techniques setting brush because it allowed more coverage of the paint and it kind of made it look more opaque and bright. Now I'm going in with a taupe brown colored eyeliner pencil by NYX, and I'm just outlining where the skeleton's going to be. So I'm kind of drawing that cheekbone and then connecting where the teeth are going to be to my upper lip. And then I'm just drawing the bottom teeth and some kind of C-shaped thing that connects the bottom jaw to the upper jaw. I'm going to outline this with the black paint from the palette and an angled brush by Suva Beauty. And I'm just going around the edges, kind of making them wiggled and jagged so it looks like ripped skin, but it doesn't have to be realistic, which is a good thing about pop art. It can kind of look cartoonish. And then I'm going to be going in and filling in the negative spaces. Same thing goes with the black. It's not super opaque at first, so I'm just going to be going in with a second layer afterwards so it's as black as it can be. If you want to use a cream paint for this, that's fine. Just use whatever paint you have or whatever paint you prefer, but I really like water activated paints. I think they're easier to work with and also easier to take off. Even though, not gonna lie, my skin was definitely stained green for like a day after this, so beware that you're gonna spend quite a bit of time scrubbing in the shower. Now I'm taking the white paint, which is almost gone, and I'm gonna fill in the skull area. Another thing I like about water activated paints is that you don't have to set it with a powder if you don't want to. You totally can if you want to, but it's not needed. It dries pretty quickly and doesn't feel wet or sticky throughout the day, whereas a grease paint normally would. Now I'm taking the pink color and I'm going to fill in that entire hole on the top of my head because this is where the brain is going to be. While I wait for that pink to dry, I'm going to move on to my nose, and I'm just going to kind of carve out a skeletal nose shape. I don't really know how else to describe it. Now I'm moving on to my eyebrows, and I'm just going to give myself some kind of arched, dramatic black eyebrows, and pretty much just going over my natural brows, but filling them in and making the arch a little bit more dramatic. I'm also extending the tail quite a bit further than my natural tail goes. Now that the pink paint is dry, I'm just going to draw some squiggles. That's a fun thing about drawing a brain, is that it's kind of just squiggly and looks like, I don't know, worms or something like that. I actually just went ahead and looked up a picture of a brain just to kind of get a feel of what look I wanted to do and how exactly to do it. But you can just wing it. It doesn't have to be perfect. As long as it's kind of squiggly and curvy looking, you probably did it right. And now I'm just going to go around and outline that. Pretty much everything in this look is going to be outlined with the black paint, but I'm leaving about 2 inches bare right there because I'm going to be taking this yellow paint and I'm going to be kind of creating this oozy, infected, droopy, drippy stuff. So I'm just going to kind of make this look like the liquid spilling out of my brain. And I'm just going to outline that with some more black. Now I'm taking the white paint and I'm kind of using this to highlight each drip we have there. And this is just going to make it look glossy and like it's wet. And I'm going around the brain and doing the same thing to each little curve. I'm going to take this really tiny Smith 202 brush and I'm going to use this to outline the teeth. You're going to want to take a really fine brush to do this. They don't have to be perfect because it is cartoon style, like I said. And then I'm doing these straight lines down in between each tooth. Now I'm just doing details around the face, like these expression kind of marks by my eyebrows, one down my nose, between my nose and mouth. I'm also outlining my cheekbone and just outlining the rest of my entire face pretty much. I'm going to go along my jawline so that you can kind of see it if I'm looking straight on at the camera. And then going up along my temples and all the way across my forehead, pretty much just outlining the whole perimeter of my face. Also getting the ears, especially focusing on the lower part of my ears. My hair is going to cover the top part, so I don't really care as much. I'm taking the blue from the Makeup Forever Flash palette and I'm just going to be placing this all over my eyes. I'm placing it all over my lid, and then I'm kind of doing a winged liner shape at the very edge of my eye, but it's technically going to be a winged eyeshadow. I'm going to set that blue paint with a light blue eyeshadow because the Makeup Forever Flash palette is a kind of cream grease paint, so it's not going to set dry. So you're going to want to set that with a powder so it doesn't smear all over the place. I'm taking this cat eyeliner pen by Pixie Beauty and I'm just going to outline that entire blue shape that we did. Extreme close up here so you guys can see what I'm doing. I'm also extending that line kind of across my lid, not connecting it down to the inner corner of my eye, because that'll kind of give you a more surprised or sad expression. I'm also extending that along my lid so it looks like a little bit of winged eyeliner that's connected. And I'm just continuing that yellow oozy stuff underneath my eyes, so it's kind of going to look like I'm crying, but also going to look like I'm infected at the same time. So I'm just doing more droopy shapes. If you guys want, you can do the same shape on each eye, but I just decided I would change it up a little bit. And of course, just going in with that tiny little Smith brush and the black paint, and I'm just outlining that. Going in with a white again, and I'm just going to highlight these droops as well. I'm holding the flash palette up to decide what kind of color I want to do my lips, and I decided on the red, and I'm just going to paint this on with a Suva Beauty lip brush. You can use a lipstick if you want, that might be a little bit easier, but I just had this in front of me, so I figured why not. Gonna outline my lips, and then I'm doing this slight upturn on the corner of my lip, and then outlining the bottom lip as well. I'm also outlining the inner part of my lips so that it looks a little bit more outlined and artistic. Then I'm just doing these 2 lines, one on top and one on bottom, to kind of look like my lips are fuller than they actually are, and then giving that a highlight. Now I'm just going to move on to details on my neck and chest. I'm just kind of outlining these tendons or muscles or whatever they are that stick out, and also going to go along my collarbones. I also outlined the perimeter of my shoulders, but I don't know why my camera didn't pick that up. Now I'm taking this red paint by the Wolf Essentials palette, and I'm just going to kind of start outlining and coloring in the heart. And this is where the whole Heartbroken thing comes from. You guys will see in a minute. I also have to give that a second layer so that it becomes more red, because with the first layer it's kind of pink. I'm just going to draw some details like little arteries or veins or whatever they are coming out of the top of the heart. And then my camera didn't record this for some reason, but I did 2 other ones that were kind of extending out past the wound and onto the green part of my flesh, so that it looks like they were ripped out of my chest. And then I decided to draw some ribs on in front of the heart. I should have done that first before the heart, but I just didn't think about it. It's probably better to do the white paint first though, so it doesn't turn kind of pink when you go over the red with it. So if you're going to recreate this, start with the ribs first. Obviously I'm just doing the rib cage right now, so I did 1 rib and then I'm going to go in between those little veins and I'm going to do the second rib right above the first one. I'm also painting part of a rib over on the other wound. And then of course going back in with the black paint and outlining everything. As a last finishing touch to the heart, I'm just drawing this kind of big vein throughout it, with other little veins extending off of it. And then of course moving over to the other hole and filling in the blank space with black. And then once you're done with that, you're pretty much done. You can add other details if you want, of course. And since this is a pop art look, you can also do the whole dots across the face thing. I decided to give it a try, and so I'm taking this gray paint, and I'm just taking a really small brush and just dotting this all the way across my face and also extending it down to my chest and arms. I feel like this kind of gives it more of a pop art feel, so if you want to go for it, then go for it, but if not, that's okay. Alright guys, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye!